Level 1. The money. You are 41 years old. You generate $100 million a year. You did nothing yesterday to earn it. And you will do nothing today, and it will arrive anyway. It's a Tuesday morning, and you wake without an alarm. In a bedroom that looks like it belongs to a moderately successful man, and the first fact of your life, the one that shapes all the others, is already true before you open your eyes. While you slept, the machine you built made money. Not a little. More than $250,000 arrived while you were dreaming, wired and cleared in compounding. And it will do the same tomorrow, and the day after, whether you rise or not, whether you work or not, whether you are awake or asleep or halfway around the world doing nothing at all. You have crossed the line that almost every person chasing wealth is secretly chasing. The line past which your money makes money faster than you could ever spend it, and it does so without you, quietly, endlessly, on its own. To understand how strange this is, sit with the arithmetic for a moment. Most people spend their entire lives trying to earn a single year of what now lands in your accounts every few days. The number is so large that it detaches from anything you can feel, because you cannot eat more than a person eats, cannot sleep in more than one bed at a time, cannot wear 2 coats or drive 2 cars or live in 10 houses at once. And so the income long ago outran your capacity to consume it. It does not fund your life. It funds itself, rolling forward, buying more of the assets that produce it, growing whether you pay attention or not. A snowball so large that you are no longer pushing it. You are simply walking beside it, watching it roll. This is the first thing nobody tells you about a life like this. At this level, money stops being something you earn and becomes something that happens, like weather. $100 million a year is more than you can spend on yourself no matter how hard you try. More than $250,000 every single day. A river that flows past your door whether you dip a cup in it or not. The relationship you had with money your whole life. The counting, the budgeting, the wanting, the working for it, is simply over, replaced by something stranger. The experience of standing beside a force that no longer needs you, that would keep producing if you vanished tomorrow. You do not have money anymore. You have a current. You lie in bed a moment longer. Somewhere, a payment clears. You did not lift a finger, and you are richer than when you closed your eyes. The verb at level 1 is accrue. It accrues, endlessly, without you. Living at this level means watching money become a force of nature rather than a reward for effort, and learning that the thing you chased your whole life, income without work, feels less like winning and more like standing next to something vast that does not know you are there. Level 2. The mask. You are the same 41-year-old, and if you passed yourself on the street, you would not look twice. Which is not an accident. It is the entire design. You drive a car that draws no attention. Your clothes carry no logos. Your house is comfortable and quietly nice, in a neighborhood where nice is normal. And nothing about the way you move through the world announces the current running underneath it. This is the choice that separates you from the loud rich, the ones who wear their wealth where everyone can see it. And it is a choice you made deliberately, because you learned, somewhere on the way up, that visible wealth is a tax. It brings requests, resentment, danger, the endless management of other people's ideas about you. And so you chose the opposite. You chose to disappear in plain sight, to look like everyone else, to let no one know. And the invisibility has become one of your most valuable possessions, worth protecting more carefully than the money itself. This is the second thing nobody tells you about a life like this. The stealth is not laziness or modesty, it is strategy. A discipline you maintain every single day. The truly wealthy, the ones who intend to stay that way and stay sane, understand that being known as rich changes every relationship you have and paints a target on everything you own. And so they build a life of deliberate ordinariness. A mask so convincing that the people who see you daily have no idea what you are worth. You are a mildly successful nobody to the world, and that is exactly what you engineered. Because the loud rich are seen and the smart rich are free, and you chose to be free. You have gotten good at it, this quiet performance of the ordinary. You have learned to deflect the question of what you do with a vague and boring answer that ends the conversation. You have learned not to flinch at prices, not to correct people's assumptions, not to let the truth leak out in a careless moment. And there is a strange pleasure in it, a private joke you carry through every room. The knowledge that the man they are quietly underestimating could buy the building they are standing in, and that he never will tell them. And that the not telling is precisely what keeps him free. The loud rich spend fortunes being seen. You spend nothing and see everything, and no one sees you at all. You pour your own coffee in your normal kitchen. Nobody watching would guess. That is the whole point. The verb at level 2 is blend. You blend, on purpose, into the ordinary. Living at this level means treating invisibility as an asset and ordinariness as a fortress, and learning that the highest form of wealth is not being seen to have it, but moving through the world as though you had nothing at all. Level 3. The day. You are 41. It is still Tuesday morning, and you are standing at the center of the thing everyone says they want and almost no one is prepared for, which is a completely empty day. There is no alarm that had to go off. There is no job you must appear at, no manager expecting you, no meeting you cannot miss, no task that anyone anywhere requires you to complete. The calendar in front of you is blank. Not just today, but tomorrow and the day after, and every day for the rest of your life if you want it that way. Because nothing about your income depends on what you do with your hours. This is freedom in its purest and most terrifying form, the total ownership of your own time. And it lands very differently than the fantasy promised. When you dreamed of this from inside a job you hated, the empty day looked like paradise. Standing inside it, you discover that an empty day is also a question, asked again every morning, that you alone must answer, with nothing and no one to answer it for you. This is the third thing nobody tells you about a life like this. The unstructured day, the thing the whole grind was supposed to buy, is both the dream and the vertigo. A job, for all its misery, gives you a shape, a reason to rise, a place to be, a problem to solve. And when you remove it completely and replace it with nothing, you find that structure was doing quiet work you never noticed, holding you up, pointing you forward. Now the scaffolding is gone, and the freedom is real, and the freedom is heavy. Because a day with no demands is a day you must fill entirely from the inside, and most people have never had to build a day from nothing but their own will. So you watch how you fill it, this ocean of time, and what you learn about yourself is not always flattering. Left with no demands at all, the mind reaches first for the easy things. The screen, the scroll, the small comforts that eat an hour without leaving a trace. A day can vanish this way, and then a week, and then a season, pleasant and frictionless and entirely forgotten. Because nothing required you to be anywhere or become anything. The people who waste a life like this are not lazy in the ordinary sense. They are simply undefended against a freedom so total that only their own will stands between a meaningful day and a wasted one, and will, unpracticed, is a weak wall against an empty afternoon. You stand in the quiet. The whole day is yours. You realize you are not entirely sure what to do with it. The verb at level 3 is wake. You wake into a day that asks nothing of you and everything of you at once. Living at this level means owning your time so completely that you must supply its meaning yourself. And learning that the empty calendar is a gift and a mirror, showing you exactly how much of your old life was built by other people's demands. Level 4. The freedom. You are 41. The day is open, and there is nothing on earth you cannot reach. Which is a sentence that sounds like heaven until you have lived inside it for a while. You could get on a plane this afternoon to anywhere. You could buy almost anything you laid eyes on. You could learn any skill, hire any teacher, fund any idea, chase any whim to the ends of the earth. And none of it would make a dent in the current. Every door that money can open is open to you, standing ajar, all of them at once, all the time. And here is the strange thing that no one who has not lived it can quite believe. When everything is possible, choosing gets harder, not easier. Constraint, it turns out, was doing something for you. Narrowing the world down to a few real options, making decisions for you by making most things impossible. Remove every constraint and you are left standing before an infinite menu with no appetite you can trust, because nothing pushes you, nothing forces you, nothing is at stake in any single choice. There is a subtler loss buried in here too, one the striving version of you would never have believed. When you can have anything the moment you want it, you lose the long ache of wanting, the anticipation that once made things sweet. The meal you waited a month to afford tasted better than any meal you can now buy on a whim. The trip you saved a year for meant more than any flight you can take this afternoon. Ease is its own quiet kind of theft, stealing the contrast that made pleasure feel like pleasure. Until you become a man who can taste anything and savors almost nothing, because nothing costs him the weight that used to give it flavor. This is the fourth thing nobody tells you about a life like this. Total freedom is a blank page, and blank pages are among the hardest things a human being can face. The person grinding toward this dream imagines that unlimited options equal unlimited happiness, but options are not the same as direction. And a life with no walls has no shape unless you build the walls yourself. The people who thrive at this altitude are the ones who impose their own constraints, who choose a mission, a craft, a cause, a discipline, precisely because the world no longer imposes one on them. The ones who drift are the ones who assumed the freedom would tell them what to do. It never does. Freedom is silent. It only hands you the pen. You consider your infinite options. You feel, unexpectedly, the faint weight of having no reason to pick any of them. The verb at level 4 is choose. You choose, endlessly, from everything, with nothing to guide you but yourself. Living at this level means discovering that infinite freedom is not a destination but a responsibility, and that the walls you used to resent were also holding up the shape of your life. Level 5. The silence. You are 41. You have built a life most people cannot imagine, and there is no one you can fully tell about it, which is the loneliness that hides inside the fantasy. You cannot mention it to friends, because it would change everything, the ease between you, the way they treat you, the things they ask for. You cannot lead with it on a date, because you would never again be sure why someone stayed. Sometimes you cannot even be fully open with family, because money, once revealed, rearranges everyone around it. And so you carry the single largest fact of your life as a secret, held close, disclosed to almost no one, and the secret does something you did not expect. It seals you off. It puts a pane of glass between you and every person you know, because the biggest truth about you is the one truth you can never quite say. And a person who cannot be fully known cannot be fully close. And it compounds in every new relationship you try to build. You meet someone, and before the friendship or the romance can even begin, a quiet calculation starts running underneath it, a question you can never fully switch off, of what they might want from you if they knew, and whether the warmth would survive the truth. You cannot test it without revealing it, and you cannot reveal it without changing it, and so you are left holding a permanent uncertainty about everyone. A small cold draft in every room, blowing through the exact space where an ordinary person would simply trust and be trusted and never think about it again. This is the fifth thing nobody tells you about a life like this. The stealth that protects you also isolates you, and the two cannot be separated, because they are the same act. Every layer of invisibility that keeps you safe from the world's demands also keeps you hidden from the people you love. And the wealth that can buy any experience on earth cannot buy the plain human relief of being completely seen by another person. You are surrounded, potentially, by anyone you want, and known, fully, by almost no one. And you begin to understand that the loudest cost of the quiet life is paid in a currency money cannot replace: the simple, ordinary intimacy of having nothing you need to hide. You move through your day among people who like you. Not one of them knows the truth of you. You chose that, and it protects you. And it is lonelier than you ever thought it would be. The verb at level 5 is withhold. You withhold the central fact of your life from nearly everyone. Living at this level means paying for your safety with your visibility, and learning that a secret large enough to protect you is also large enough to isolate you, one glass pane at a time. Level 6. The machine. You are 41. The money runs on its own, and you have discovered a fear the poor never feel, which is the fear not of having too little but of losing what you have. The current does not maintain itself by magic. Underneath the ease is a machine, structures and holdings and accounts, diversification and lawyers and contingencies, all of it built to keep the 100 million a year flowing and to protect it from the 1,000 things that could go wrong. And so a part of your mind, the part that used to worry about paying rent, has simply changed its assignment. It worries now about preservation, about the market, about the concentration, about the one failure that could unravel the thing you spent your life building. You have more than you could ever need, And instead of ending your financial anxiety, the abundance relocated it. From the fear of not enough to the subtler and more permanent fear of watching enough slip away. And there is no number that turns this fear off, which is the part that would have stunned your younger self. You assumed that past some threshold the worry would simply stop, that enough was a place you could arrive at and finally rest. But enough is not a number, it is a feeling, and the feeling does not come. Because the mind that spent decades scanning for financial threat does not lay down its weapons just because the threat is gone. It finds new ones. It worries about the crash, the lawsuit, the betrayal. The single mistake that could undo it all, and it stands watch over the fortune with the same vigilance it once used to survive without one, never quite believing that the danger has finally passed. This is the sixth thing nobody tells you about a life like this. Wealth does not remove financial fear. It transforms it from a fear of scarcity into a fear of loss. And the second is harder to escape than the first, because it grows with the very thing that was supposed to bring you peace. The more you have, the more there is to protect. And the more there is to protect, the more of your attention the protecting quietly claims. You built the machine to free yourself from worry, and the machine, running perfectly, generates a new worry all its own. The low constant hum of a man standing guard over a fortune, afraid, in the back of his mind, of the day it might stop. You check nothing is wrong, because nothing is wrong. You check again anyway. The guarding never fully switches off. The verb at level 6 is guard. You guard the machine that was supposed to set you free. Living at this level means trading the fear of scarcity for the fear of loss, and learning that abundance does not silence financial anxiety. It simply gives it a larger and more precious thing to be afraid about. Level 7. The question. You are 41, survival is solved, work is optional, no one is watching, and you are left, finally, alone with the only question money was never able to answer. Think about what is actually true now. You will never need to work again. You will never need to worry about money again. Not really. No one knows what you have. So there is no status to chase, no one to impress, no scoreboard to climb. Every external problem that ever organized a human life, earning, surviving, proving, belonging, has been quietly switched off. And in the enormous silence that follows, one question rises that you can no longer drown out with busyness or striving or the noise of getting by. What is this life for? Not what will you buy, not where will you go, but what, when everything is handled and nobody is watching and nothing is required, is the point of the day in front of you. The passive income automated your entire survival. It could not automate a reason to get out of bed. This is the seventh thing nobody tells you about a life like this. And it is the one that matters. Below this level, life is generous with problems, and the problems, exhausting as they are also gifts, because they give you direction, a reason to rise. A fight to be in. Rent must be paid. A career must be built. A family must be provided for. Each of these hands you a purpose without your having to invent one. At this level, every one of those problems is gone, and their absence hands you back the oldest and hardest task a human being can face, which is to decide, with no external pressure whatsoever, what your one life is actually for. Money solved everything it could reach. It simply turned out that the thing that matters most was always sitting just beyond its reach. This is the question the monks climbed the mountain to find, and you stumbled into it by accident, simply by succeeding too completely. For all of human history, the demands of survival kept this question at a safe distance, buried under the daily work of staying alive, and only a rare few ever had the freedom to face it directly. You have that freedom now, total and permanent, and it turns out to be the heaviest thing you own. Some people, meeting this question, build something real with the answer, a purpose, a contribution. A life that means something to them beyond their own comfort. Others, unable to bear the silence, quietly fill it back up with distraction and appetite, and spend the rest of their days running from the very freedom they spent their whole lives chasing. You sit in the quiet of a Tuesday that belongs entirely to you. The money is handled. The question is not. The verb at level 7 is reckon. You reckon with the one question the money could not answer for you. Living at this level means arriving at total freedom and total security and total invisibility, and discovering that they were never the destination. Only the clearing away of every distraction that once hid the real question, which was always, From the very beginning, what are you here to do? So let's pull this together. At level 1, the money accrues endlessly without you until it stops being a reward and becomes a force of nature. At level 2, you blend, disappearing on purpose into an ordinary life, because the smart rich are free and the loud rich are seen. At level 3, you wake into an empty day that is both the dream you chased and a question you alone must answer. At level 4, you choose from infinite options and learn that freedom with no constraint is a blank page, not a paradise. At level 5, you withhold the truth of your life from nearly everyone and pay for your safety in loneliness. At level 6, you guard the machine, trading the fear of too little for the harder fear of losing what you have. At level 7, you reckon with the one question money cannot answer, which is what a life is actually for. Here is the thing nobody on YouTube will tell you about a life like this. This is the dream. 100 million a year, arriving on its own, invisible to the world, freeing you from work and worry and the judgment of everyone around you. It is the literal endgame of the entire financial freedom world. And it is real, and it is worth wanting, and nothing in this video is meant to sour it. But here is what the fantasy never mentions. The stealth cash flow life solves every external problem completely: money, work, time, the opinions of others, and by solving them, it removes every last distraction from the internal ones: meaning, purpose, connection, identity. The problems money was never able to touch. Below this level, survival gives your life a shape whether you asked for one or not. At this level, the shape is gone, and you have to build it yourself, from nothing, with no excuse left and no problem left to hide behind. That is the secret at the top of the mountain. The freedom is not an ending. It is a mirror. It hands you back yourself, fully, with everything else stripped away. And what you find there is whatever you built before the money made it optional. The people who arrive here and thrive are the ones who came carrying a purpose, a craft, a mission, a set of people they love, something that was never about the money and does not disappear when the money makes everything possible. The people who arrive empty discover that the fantasy, fully achieved, simply hands them the oldest human question with no distraction left to avoid it. So if you are chasing this, keep chasing, because the freedom is worth it. But understand what you are truly building toward, and start building the other thing now, the purpose and the people and the self, because none of that arrives with the money. And the money will one day strip away every excuse you had for not having it. And if you are close, near the number, do not treat it as a finish line. Decide, before you arrive, what the freedom is for. Because the day survival goes quiet is the day you find out whether you build a life or only an escape from one. And by then the machine is already running, and the whole silent day is yours, and the question is finally, unavoidably, waiting. It's a Tuesday morning, and somewhere a 41-year-old is waking without an alarm, in a bedroom that looks perfectly ordinary, while a machine they built quietly makes another $250,000 before they have opened their eyes. No one knows. No alarm rings. No job waits. The whole day stretches out ahead, empty and open and entirely theirs, and every external problem that ever organized a human life has been switched off, one by one, until only the internal one remains. They got everything the dream promised: the money, the freedom, the invisibility, the silence. And in the quiet that follows, they meet the question that was always waiting underneath it, patient, unhurried. The one the 100 million a year could never answer for them. This life has 7 levels. The first 6 are the fantasy, exactly as advertised, and the 7th is the price. And the price is the oldest question there is, handed back to you with no distraction and no excuse. What is this life for? The money automates everything except the answer, and the answer, it turns out, was never for sale. If this video changed how you think about wealth and what it is really for, hit subscribe. We have more videos like this on the channel.